Hello everyone. I hope you're all well. I hope you're enjoying the spring. And if not, well, I have just the thing for you that will put a spring in your step. I'm actually here today to collect some seaweed. So I've already collected some seaweed from the shore closer to the house, but I was looking specifically for some kelp, and I've come here because I know after a storm it's bound to be tossed up. And I just wanted to mix up the seaweeds that I'm using for this particular seaweed pick-me-up. So all the seaweeds are beneficial to include in your diet. You can put seaweed into your soup and stews and casseroles and anything like that, and they will give you top nutrition. But what I'm going to do today is something that is incredibly simple. It's going to give you a real spring in your step and boost you after the winter and restore all the body systems. And it's so easy that anybody can do it. And it doesn't really change the taste of your food very much. So you'll all be able to use it daily. And I'll show you how we do it once we get back home. So I'm going to collect some kelp here. It's just been pulled up from the sea bed because of the storm, so it's lovely and fresh. Seaweed is just a brilliant thing to have close to hand. We're so lucky that we live close to the shore. But you can buy seaweeds in health shops and in delicatessens and even in big supermarkets. So you should be able to get hold of seaweeds anywhere. And we use seaweed, of course, on the land as well because it fertilizes the soil and really helps give everything growing a big boost. And that's again because of the mineral content. But another reason I like to be here on the beach is just because it's so beautiful. You know, the different colors, the white sand and the blue, green and purple ocean. You know, when you see the waves pounding onto the shore, it's just, you just feel that power of nature. But it's a great way to shed all the positive ions that are detrimental and make you feel tired and sluggish. So all the negative ions that we get here are just so exhilarating and stimulating. And even if you're not walking barefoot, it's still a huge benefit to walk a beach. So if you can get out to one, get out to one. And if not, just go and get some seaweed from those shops I mentioned and then make this little pick-me-up that I'm going to show you as soon as we get home. So I've mainly kelp here, and I've got a little bit of bladderwrack and possibly some dillisk or something. It doesn't really matter. All the seaweeds are medicinal insofar as they're full of minerals and they're really going to strengthen and tone up your body and kind of rebalance everything, particularly weight. Very good for weight balance. So all the minerals in here are extremely beneficial, and the iodides are the iodine salts, and that's why they're very good for the low thyroid activity and for weight balance. So what I'm going to do with this, this is just rinsing. I rinsed a lot of the sand off outside because I didn't want to clog up the drain, and the rest of this now is just giving any little sea creatures a chance to, you know, escape from the fronds. What I prefer to do with it is to dry it and grind it up, mix it up with salt and use it as a condiment. You can cook with it, you can put it into salads, you could infuse it and have a drink, but it's very, very bitter. So it's going to be really good for the digestive system in particular. But as I say, it's a real restorative tonic for the whole body. And that's the kind of thing that it's important to do at this time of year, coming out of winter, bursting into spring. We want to have that energy to burst into spring. So this is something that's going to really pep you up. But what I have here is some that I dried already, and I'm just going to grind it up now and show you how I mix it in with the salt. So this is bladderwrack that I dried the other day. Now, all seaweeds are edible. I think for me, I would have to acquire a taste for them. They're all medicinal as well because of the huge health benefits and the mineral content. But it's very interesting. If you ever get a chance to do a seaweed walk, they all taste quite different. So, and they all have, some of them have very specific health benefits, such as corrugine, which is a little seaweed that grows on the rocks at low tide, is fantastic for respiratory issues. Bladderwrack is not really for a specific health issue, but it is just going to restore the body, rejuvenate, and be a big pep for springtime. So I'm just breaking this up into the pestle and mortar, and I'm going to add some salt, which is sea salt in this case, and grind it all up together. So I'm so lucky I only have to walk 5 minutes to the shore and I can collect seaweed. But if you don't live near the ocean, most health shops will sell dried seaweeds, and also delicatessens will sell them. Maybe fishmongers will sell them as well, because certainly in Ireland you can get dried seaweeds everywhere in those places. If you were like us and you use dried beans and dried pulses and legumes, you have to soak them before use, of course, for about 12 hours. And there's still a risk that you may end up with some wind problems. So when you're soaking them and when you're simmering them afterwards to cook them, it's a good idea to put a piece of seaweed in the pan with the beans, because it negates the beans or the plant's natural reaction to predation. So the plants release oligosaccharides, or are coated with oligosaccharides, to prevent predation by insects and whatever. But that screws up our digestive system and leads to a lot of gas. So putting in a piece of kelp a couple of inches long into your pan, or a piece of kombu, it's the same thing. Kombu is a Japanese word. It can reduce that problem of flatulence. I'm so annoyed with myself because I'm convinced that I bought a stone shallow pestle and mortar, which would be ideal for this. And I can see myself in the shop holding it, testing the weight, and I don't know where it is. So it's a bit frustrating doing it in such a deep. Which one is which, the pestle or the mortar? I can never remember. But anyway, we'll get there. You could, of course, put the dried seaweed into a grinder, but I just like to do things handmade to put in positive energy as well. Okay, that is all finely ground. I'm going to pour it in here so you can see. So there we are. You just use this as you would any condiment, sprinkling it onto your food. This might be something to try with a fish dish in the beginning, just to get used to the taste, although you're just putting a normal amount of salt onto your meal, so it shouldn't be too overpowering or too strong, but just in case you're sensitive to briny tastes. And so that's what I've done with this dried seaweed. So I can dry more and store it. I can also make a tincture with it when I've finished rinsing it. And I can also make a big mug of tea with it, a hot infusion. So lots of ways to use it. I'll put all the information in the See More box below, where you see the more word, it'll be all below that. And if you want to see how a tincture is made, you can watch this film here. So again, as I keep saying, be versatile, be creative. Do this little one small step for your health, for your rejuvenation after winter, and feel much better. It's great that it's such a simple thing to do for such huge benefits, because, you know, a lot of the food we eat from the ground up is very poor in minerals these days because the soil is depleted. This is a way of getting all those minerals into you. And without the minerals, our bodies can't process vitamins. So they really are important. And if you want to go crazy mad and start making all kinds of herbal medicine, I just recommend my little books, the Weed Handbooks 1 and 2. There's lots of spring herbs in there and summer plants that come up in the wild that you can harvest to make medicines with and to empower yourself. So I just love the idea of people empowering themselves, and it is such a great feeling when you've made something. And this is so simple, it might be a good place to start. And just to give you a mention, while I'm doing this self-promotion, that the herbal course for women is coming up soon. I've nearly got it ready, and I'll keep you posted about that. But all the information is in the box below. I hope you'll take this simple step and feel so fulfilled and empowered that you go on to do other things. And in the meantime, have a great week, and I'll see you next Sunday. I'm going to put this on my lunch now. I hope you enjoyed today's film. If you did, subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And have a look at the website danusirishherbgarden.com for more information about us and about the herbal medicine courses I offer and the Wise Woman Way training. And if you go to the shop, you can find the books, the Weed Handbooks and other herbal goodies. And remember, we put a new film out every Sunday. So looking forward to seeing you next week.